Welcome everyone. We will be beginning our Office 365 training webinar on Teams momentarily. I will start going through it. Hope everyone is well. All right, so as our four-part series, we have Outlook, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams. We'll do a recap at the end of this webinar, just reviewing some of the key points and features of these different features or applications, however you like to call them. This is me, SMB. And today's focus is on Office 365 Teams. It's a new tool. It's been released in full production over the last year. Updates are being made to this weekly, if not sooner. It's something that Microsoft's investing a lot of time into, and resources coming off of Link and then Skype, if you are all familiar with. Again, please email webinar@smbhd.com. I've gotten a couple questions already. Kick that down to my team. They'll reach out to you and assist you with those questions and even show you if there's time to do that. So what is Teams? Well, Microsoft Teams brings together the full breadth and depth of Office 365 to provide a true chat-based hub for teamwork and gives customers the opportunity to create a more open, fluid, and digital environment. Microsoft Teams is built on existing Microsoft technologies woven together by Office 365 groups. Out of the box, Teams leverages identities stored in Azure Active Directory, which is also Office 365 on a very basic level, and integrates with the other services within Office 365 to create a SharePoint online site, an Exchange Online group mailbox for each team that is created. Teams provides a persistent chat capability, calling and meetings, easy access to other components of Office 365, as well as a robust, extensible story. This provides a hub for teamwork that is appropriate for enterprise companies, small organizations, and everyone in between. So who can use Microsoft Teams? Well, Teams is part of Office 365. If you're licensed with any of those below, you have the ability to do that. To add someone from your organization to Teams, just open up the app and send them a message or add them into a team. They'll get an email invite. They'll be able to download the local application. They'll be able to open it up in a web browser and also use a mobile device. Later in this, if there's time, we'll go through a demo of both the local application and also a web browser session utilizing Teams. So the core capabilities. Chat obviously is one of the main focus points of this tool. You can enjoy public and private conversation with your teams. Deep integration of Skype video into the application brings your popular social features such as adding emojis and custom memes to your discussions. Hub, the Teams offers a shared workplace for various applications in the Microsoft Office. PowerPoint, Word, Excel, Planner, OneNote, SharePoint, Delve, and Power BI. This feature gives you and your teams the option to work between each other without the stress of toggling between applications to get your projects completed. Some of the key benefits of Teams. Centralized hub. You really could do all of your business, managing a team, managing a project, managing a department within Teams. The Office 365 integration is incredible with Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote. All of these different tools are all built into Teams. You can do custom teams through APIs and bot frameworks, good security and compliance, Azure Active Directory integration, and there is no cost. Just as in SharePoint is included with your Office 365 subscription, Teams is another one of these tools where you have an incredibly rich feature set that just comes along with getting your email and with the licensing that you're doing there. So a quick start, a little planning guide. Get your people together. You prioritize your business scenarios, you complete the technical planning, you conduct pilots and deploy teams, and then you measure usage, manage satisfaction, and drive operation. So as with every other tool set that you're ever going to use, you have to know your tool set, know who's going to be using it, and how they're going to be using it. This is one of those tools where the stakes are fairly low, where you can just go in there, start creating teams, start building planners with inside of teams, building channels, building departments, creating Excel spreadsheets. You have so many different options when it comes to using Office 365 Teams. So what are teams and channels? So teams are a collection of people, content, and tools that center on different projects or jobs within an organization. Team members inside of those projects or teams can have conversations, they can share files, they can share notes, they can share their screen, they can grant access to their workstation. It's almost limitless in regards to what you can do with specific channels and teams. You need to be a team owner to create a team or add members, but anyone on that team can add specific channels to that team. Channels are there to keep teams' conversations organized, and you can dedicate specific channels to topics, projects, and different concepts that you would like to focus on. As you can see in the example, you have development, marketing, social media, all can be their own individual teams inside of teams. How to create a new team? Go to team, click add team, add your members to it, and it's fairly straightforward in creating that. Again, I have a fresh instance of teams with my webinar SMB HD account, and we'll go through some of that where I'll be able to create teams, create channels, add people, add files, just show some of the bells and whistles within the application and the browser session. You have options of changing team settings. Just like everything else, you have your ellipse, 3 dots. You can change permissions. You can enable @ which is sort of a tagging, setting permissions to guests, and then you can also enable GIFs, emojis, and stickers. So this is a cool thing where my boss is talking with somebody else on a channel that I'm aware of. I'm not involved in that conversation, but they put @Cam Sarlati. I'll get an email notification or a team notification saying, hey, you were brought up in conversation. Pretty much means that you got to do something. So it's an easy way of collaborating and assigning tasks without actually reaching out to the individual, which used properly could be a really cool tool. Have fun with emoji memes and GIFs. That's one thing where my department and also other departments here at SMB, it's fun to use. You can do a search for funny, angry, happy. Honestly, it's fairly limitless, and send interesting GIFs back and forth. Not the most productive thing, but definitely can keep work a little bit more lighthearted. Selecting stickers, again, this isn't really the more business functionality of Teams, but it's nice to have that option, as in there's other conversation platforms that also include this. I know on my Android phone, it has that ability now to add GIFs in a text message. That's just way a lot of people communicate nowadays instead of just smiley faces. Adding a team to an Office 365 group. To add a team to an existing Office 365 group, click Teams, Add Team, Create Team. Again, I'm going to say team. A lot of times there's teams within teams, but we'll get to the bottom of it and sort of show you how that all links together. So you can build a SharePoint site within a team. If you create an Office 365 group, it creates a SharePoint site for that Office 365 group. You can do this also manually within Teams. So I can create a new team. I manage services here at the SMB Help Desk. So what I can do is I can say, all right, I have this project, this project, this project. I can add people to that project, create a SharePoint repository within that team, and then all the files pertaining to that project could live within that. Live, hot information that everybody can access, modify, and see on the fly. Leveraging Planner, which you can also implement into a team, is a really cool tool. The Add tab, it works just like SharePoint, which is great. Find and join a team, you search the name. If it's public, you'll have access to it. If it's private, you have to be invited to it. Fairly straightforward. We have a lunch chat as everybody gets starving at 10:30 and everybody talks about what they want to eat for the day, and then people get to a plan of ordering or going out. That's just an interesting example, but in the grand scheme of things, finding projects, finding different teams that you want to talk to, joining those teams if they're public, requesting an invite, getting an invite. It's fairly straightforward to jump from team to team and have all these different teams working together. Adding a team member, add team members, add them. Again, the GUI interface is very straightforward to add, leave, marking them as favorites so that it has priority on your list. There are a lot of options there. Leaving a group, leaving a chat. Again, the ellipse is your friend with almost anything now, Office 365. It gives you more granular settings and permissions, and most of the time is the one option for your settings. So you're able to leave it. You can remove people, but that's more of an IT side. So this is pretty much a basic operation of chat, leaving teams, leaving chats. Screen sharing, this is an incredible tool. For my department, I have a team member who is remote, having an issue on site with a server or something to that extent. What we're able to do is we can start a Teams call, and then he has, or that person has the ability to share their desktop. And when we get to that, I can walk them through it. I've always done this on my mobile phone, on the train home. I got my guys staying late. They ran into an issue at 5:30. I'm on the green line, and I'm like, all right, well, share your screen. So they shared their screen. I'm on the phone talking with them. I'm telling them the specific places to go to update this certain configuration, and I'm able to do that on the fly while I'm on my way home. Looking at their screen with the mobile device, you don't have the ability to take control, but I was able to see what they were looking at and help them diagnose it. This could be used in so many different applications. In regards to, it could be just used for meetings where you have a PowerPoint deck that you're sharing with multiple locations. You can do that with the screen share, just as what I'm doing now here. So can you use Planner in Teams? Yes, yes you can, and it is used in most of our meetings to keep everybody on track, have an agenda, have next steps. You can assign people tasks. Planner is a really, really great tool. You can manage a project, you can manage training, and you can do all that within Teams now. So you don't even have to go to the Planner web application. You can all do that from within Teams. Something I would definitely recommend using, assigning tasks, putting milestones. It is an incredible tool. So are you able to recover deleted team or a channel? So this was a concern early on with Teams where recovering chats, recovering teams, recovering channels wasn't really built into it at its initial release. Microsoft has been adding that, and it's been working really well since then. So you have the ability to recover, you have the 30 days, and that is an option if you need it. So the activity feed. So this is a summary of all the different activity going on to all the channels and teams that you are a part of. So if I'm part of the manager team, I'm part of infrastructure team, I help out with sales, all those different teams, I can see what's currently going on within those dialogues. So I can chime in, or somebody puts @cam, I can jump in there and answer the question real quick. So I have a lot more ability to assist in other departments, other teams with a click of the mouse, where there's a conversation going on of pre-sales for a big project. I'm able to jump in, give my information, get back to my day. Obviously, you can filter. It's a pretty cool tool. It's not something that I've dealt with too much, but is a very good way if you are part of a lot of different channels. You'll see the little 6 by activity. That's standard. That tells you how many chats have been there since you last viewed it. Again, it's an easy way of saying what you need to click on or what's currently going on. Setting up a private chat. First, click New Chat. Top left, you start a new conversation. Type who you're going to be adding it to it, and then you hit Send. Then you need to add someone to the chat that's already going. Just add the person right there. Fairly straightforward. You can delete a message. You send something. I've done this before where, hey, this is my interpretation of the situation. I send it out. I get another email, or I find something else. That information's old. You are able to delete that. and you're also able to recover it after you delete that. Again, I can show that a little bit later. Scheduling a meeting, super easy inside of Teams. Go to meetings, schedule a meeting. You have an agenda. Based off your licensing, you could even have a phone number assigned to your Teams message. So instead of having a go-to meeting, you're able to use Teams to schedule meetings with people outside of the company where they have a dial-in number. Again, that has to do with your specific license, something that you can reach out to IT and talk about if that's something that you guys are interested in. But it's a really great tool. As you can see, you set it up, you can invite people internally, externally, you can have a generated phone number. It's a really cool tool and something I'll go through with everyone later. So the tabs, this is a more complex feature set with inside of Teams where you can really use a lot of different application sets. So tabs are a great way to integrate tools and services. They live at the top of the conversation. It's something that you want to use sparingly. You can obviously overload it with 10 different spreadsheets and a SharePoint site and a video and a planner. Keeping it more controlled obviously is a good idea when it comes to tabs. So sending a file to somebody, you have the option to hit choose file, and then it would attach it to that. You can also drag and drop files, which is wonderful. I'll show an example of sending a large and small file where you'll see that it's uploading into the Teams application. When the green bar is finished, you hit send, and then it's on its way, which is really cool. There's also ways of attaching a document to a SharePoint library or a specific folder within inside a specific team or channel, and you can live update documents there too. So how do I mark a message as important? This is more focused on the mobile apps, which again is incredible. I use an Android, and the Teams app is a lifesaver. If I'm running late, I'm on site, maybe I'm taking a vacation, I'm actually able to manage my team as well as if I'm in the office with clear, concise instructions, constant feedback, updates, screenshots, file sharing. Really cool. And you have the ability to marking specific conversations or chats as important. Also, you have the ability to save and delete. So again, this is more based off of mobile devices where you're able to format and save your messages. You click the little add in the compose box to the text editor, lets you underline, bold, italicize, start new paragraphs, a lot of those different options. Save any message again with the ellipse and saved, and there's also more options there. You can search for old messages and attachments on your mobile device, which is great. The save feature is just like your Outlook, just like your SharePoint. It indexes across all conversations, and it's able to find old conversations you had with a specific person if you're trying to, get that information. So you can see if a channel is live and active based off of the bolding. That tells you that there's conversations going on. Obviously, if it's not bolded, it hasn't been used recently. An easy way, again, at a glance, to see what's going on and what's active. You also receive notifications when someone mentions you and replies to a conversation. So that's another way that you will know that a channel is active. And then you can navigate over to the recent in your Teams. So the bots, really cool. They can respond to queries, send updates to a channel, notify you about things. I was just asking it a couple questions. If it's Office 365 and Teams related, it really knows what it is. If you ask it some random Google type questions, you're not going to get very far. Obviously, you can use some of these other bots. I was using pretty much just the Teams basic bot, but that is something that is growing where you're able to request step-by-step instructions, and it'll give you those clear instructions. Really cool. I'll go through a couple of those with you. So instead of bothering IT, if you have questions about Teams, you can ask the team bot, hey, how do I attach a document? How do I send an email from here? You have all those options by just talking to a bot that's built in first time you log into Teams. So adding a bot, again, you go to Microsoft Teams, head to the store, and then there's a couple different ways of getting there. Browse the bots, you can search the bots. And you'll be able to add bots to a team if one of the team owners has enabled it in the team settings. So bots, someone like Cortana can comb over information and data if you like. Again, that's a next level where there's some configuration needed, but a lot of cool bots that are needed and used nowadays. So I know I've sort of blasted through just the overview of Teams and its general functionality. We'll get into the demo shortly and sort of see what we're going to do there. So let me go ahead and pull it up. All right, so here is the Teams application. Lot of options here. Obviously, we have a clean slate here. So in general, adding somebody to a chat, pretty straightforward, but let me go over this T-bot. So it says, okay, how do I create a team is one of the first things I ask. Hey, I'm the bot. This will be the first thing. You'll see it in your chat. The T-bot, the Teams bot will help you through it. So let's say creating a channel. Boom. So here we are. So inside of Teams, to create a new channel, start in the Teams list. Okay. And then from there, more options. Next team, add channel. So we're going to create a new team. I'm going to call this demo for webinar. And I'm going to make it private for now. And you can see anyone in your organization can join. Private, only team owners can add members, just like Office 365 distribution groups, a general permission set. So we'll keep it private. You know, yeah, I'll do that for now because I'll be adding people to it. All right. Let's keep going. All right, so I'm going to add some team members to here. So I'm creating a team and I'm adding members to it. So the file options. We have a couple different options where we can create files, drag and drop, pull it from SharePoint. So creating a new Word doc is something to share. Once that's created, we'll be able to lively modify this inside of Teams. As you see, I'm not in Word. I'm not in Word Online. I'm in Word Online within Teams. So I can be working on this document. It live shares, and again, it saves it to a new SharePoint repository built inside of this Teams. So you have a lot of cool options of working in live documents, talking to somebody. So if you guys have a big spreadsheet you're working on, you can have everybody in the team working on it together in different tabs and on the same tab. Really cool tool in that regard. All right, so I'm going to close this out. Bill likes it. It's always nice. So I can see I went to my activity. I have something to share. He saw that because he was in that team. And I'm going to just give it a thumbs up. This is something that we use a lot, just sort of acknowledging that, hey, I read it. Good job. Let's keep going. So I can go at Hail. Make sure to create that TPS report. So he's going to get a notification, even though he's not in the middle of this. He's going to see that he was part of this conversation, and he's going to just look at it. And it's incredible to be able to just do that without even directing. So I could be talking in a manager's meeting, ask a team member to do that. They'll get the message, and they'll take care of that task. So let's schedule a meeting. So let's say we're doing a webinar at 4 p.m. So here we go. We're going to talk about webinar for planner. I'm not going to select a specific channel. I'm going to invite Bill. I'll invite, again, John, maybe include Michael. So it tells me that they're free at this time. So it actually looks at their Outlook calendar and tells me, hey, these guys are ready at that time. So at 4 o'clock, I could schedule this meeting, and I know these guys are going to come in there. Now I can obviously write my agenda, talk big picture and inside the box. Obviously, you can set up repeating. Where's the location? It's going to be in this Teams meeting. You're not actually putting a physical location. It is a virtual conference. I believe that there were a few other options. You can insert links. Again, it's basic where you're not adding as many files to it because you're going to be using this platform to share those files. So I hit schedule. All right, close it out. And then we'll see that we can chat with these participants before the meeting. I can join this meeting, it'll kick it off. I can click this from any device to join that meeting, which is a great tool. So what are some other options? Planner is just really cool. You sort of have to create this in another site, but you would import a plan that you currently have. You can build that with inside of Teams. So right now I'm in my demo team. I'm going to add a tab. So this is where you can add any of these applications and more. We talked a little bit about Power BI, Planner. Obviously everybody knows Word, PowerPoint, SharePoint, Stream is a new Microsoft YouTube equivalent. Visual Studio, VSTS, and Forms, which is a cool way that we'll probably be implementing with SharePoint in general. OneNote, again, not a fan, but definitely an option there for collaboration. It's a pretty cool tool. So let's create a planner. So this is, again, we can create documents, files from Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Again, all those different applications can be created within Teams. You can really manage a whole team, a whole company within Teams where all your documents, all your files, all your conversations, all your meetings, all your calls can live inside of Teams. So webinar plan 1. It's going to post it automatically. And this is Planner, very basic, but I'm going to say create Planner webinar deck. All right, and I'm going to get into this specific task. I'm going to assign it to Daniel, who always helps me out with my decks. And I'll just leave it. That's assigned, which is great. It's going to be in our to-do bucket. Progress, it hasn't been started. He can do that. Start date is when he gets back from vacation. Due date is going to be the next day because I'm one of those kind of people. Please begin creating a webinar deck on Planner. Show on card. Again, all the abilities of Planner are built into Teams, so you're going to get the same experience you are from using the Planner web application as with others. So let's go ahead and save it by just closing it out. And now we see, okay, Daniel's been assigned this task. It's due on 8/14. Let's see what we can do with just making some additional modifications. So what I like to do is say, save the deck, update the deck, add pictures, and a funny quote. So this could be a huge project where we have all these different buckets, and I'll go in a little bit more because I really find this is one of the best options and features within Office 365. Again, a free part of this. So I'm going to show on card. I can add an attachment. I can put a link. I can put SharePoint sites. It's just really incredible. There's no real files in this, so I'm not going to be able to grab it besides something to share. So they'll see that. Please review the attached document for next steps. Tabbing, you can label these. I built an entire training program. I believe I've discussed this before, all within Planner, where I labeled these are videos, these are exams, these are tests, these are internal documents, these are external documents, and this is a mandatory recap. So you can just label this as, I'm not sure if we're able to modify that in this one. That's interesting. Label 1. Yep, there we go. So update decks. Then you could have update spreadsheet. Update Word docs. So I'm going to say this is an update decks tab. All right, close it out, and I can see that. So we can just create a Excel webinar deck. Give it a tag. So Excel, I'm going to assign this one to Bill. I'm going to give him a due date of tomorrow. And then obviously we can do our attachments, send links. Again, I built an entire training program off of this using LinkedIn Learning, where I linked it to exams and classes and prep. They review all that. They're able to, like, all right, so when you're done, I need you to upload your test results, and then I can review it, and I can honestly train somebody just from Planner, given steps, getting feedback, going from there. Obviously, we have new buckets to do. How we use it is on deck and completed. So you're able to drag and drop. Okay, that's on deck. Oh, looks like Daniel finished it. Check that off, check that off. Oh, he forgot to add a funny quote. So I can just get in there and see his progress as it goes, which is just really, really great. You can attach the file to it. Again, I can do a lot of delegation and facilitation from this tool and get feedback, get what I need, move on, which is really cool. You can build in a wiki knowledge base just inside of the teams. So something really cool to build out. You have predefined templates, and then we can look at all the conversations going on there. I have Bill, who is always a jokester, so he sent me Milton from Office Space. So here's just a general overview of some of the operations of Teams. When it's a planner, let's do another addition. So we have our team called Demo. We have all these different options. You can remove it from favorites, manage the team. I can leave it because I'm an owner. I can delete it, get a link to the team to send it to somebody else. Lots of wonderful options there. So let's create a spreadsheet. And I'm going to call this Demo. Please modify this spreadsheet. I'm just going to create a general one. And so I have to create this one. So honestly, this is just something that I can do. Let me see. So adding a spreadsheet. So this is when you grab a spreadsheet and actually add it to it, which I've done in another team, but I really don't want to show that one right now. Let me get a new spreadsheet here. New spreadsheet to share. And you get a few moments of delay, but that's because it's creating this file live within Teams, putting it into a repository. So I'm going to do update here. And then I'm going to close the conversation. So then we're going to add it to a tab. So now that it's within the files, within the team, I can go and add this spreadsheet. And then everybody, so we'll call this demo spreadsheet so people know what it is. Now, as we have webinar plan 1, we have our planner here with our steps. So again, I can have, I'm managing 12 projects right now. I can have all my projects for my team in this one view. I can say, okay, well, this is a spreadsheet on our training program. So again, it's live. I have the options of opening it in, I'm editing in Teams currently. I can edit in the Excel application. I can edit in Excel online. Again, I'll just pop it open for me, which is great tool. You can change out formatting. You can have your conversation point, be like, Bill, please update column C, row 12. And then I can go at Bill, please update C, row 12. He'll get a notification and he'll be able to see that because he's been tagged. Again, here's this gal information, the global address list built into Office 365. So you're able to have people do work on the fly. I can be on a call with management, with ownership. They're delegating stuff to me. I'm kicking stuff down to my team, all within one format. So this is something that I would start seeing, like Bill could be in here right now, clicking stuff. I saw he just went on break, so that's perfectly fine. But you can share that out with your team. And obviously, if I want to do a funny GIF, throw that in there, just because you can. Smiley faces, obviously the whole 9 yards. Not really professional, but what's needed. And honestly, I can just schedule a call right now where I can start looking at my team face to face. I could be in another country right now, hit meet now. We all jump into this meeting, start working on the spreadsheet that needed to be done yesterday. A lot of cool options there. Again, you can do some of these other options. It's really just a pretty cool tool in that regard. I can add files from my workstation, from OneDrive, from within inside of Teams. So let's get back. So just reviewing, we have our conversations. So I just created this team, added some people. They're chatting in there. You can see that, all right, so this is just all the conversations happening within this demo team. It could see that, hey, I just created a spreadsheet. I just created a planner, and I just added some interesting GIFs and a funny meme or a little cat video. Adding more people, channels. Again, if you have questions, you can go to Tbot, say how to remove someone from Teams. And again, I've never demoed this in Tbot as an IT guy. I just sort of go through it and don't really read the instructions every time, learn by experience. But if you have a question, you can ask it. Now, I don't think you can say how to add an attachment to a team. Share a file, choose file right there. Again, you can drag and drop files now, which is pretty cool. So if you're talking to artificial intelligence to help out with that, pretty cool. Okay, so I'm in my chat, I talked to Bill. He appreciated that I shared something with him, so I'm going to attach something from my OneDrive. I'm going to share this clip art for strengths, share it, load it up, and then see it sending, see that I shared it, and then if I want to see it, you can go ahead and click it, and it'll show up the picture that I took from another deck. Again, he gets it, he likes it. I can save this message, I can delete it, I can mark it as unread, I can edit it post-fact. A lot of cool options there. So let me just resend that. I edited it, and so that I reshared it. So again, we have our teams, we have our meetings, we have our files. All of these are pretty cool options that you can use within Teams. General activity, obviously I haven't done a whole lot here, but you can see what's going on. I replied, so you get timestamps, which is really nice. You can just sort of see what you're doing, and then obviously if this is company-wide, my production one, obviously it's filled with my teams, other teams, all the different conversations. If I need to jump in and help out, I can catch up for the whole conversation and see it that way. Really cool tool with Teams. Again, adding any of these Word documents, SharePoint sites, PowerPoints, collaboration is incredible for that. I'm going to jump back to the deck. I'm going to recap some of the things we reviewed with OneDrive, SharePoint, Teams, and Outlook, and then we will wrap up. We might have a little bit of time for questions, but I know everybody wants to get back to their day. So let me get back to the deck. All right, Office 365 webinar recap. All right, share that. So OneDrive, you're in control of your files. You control who has access to your files. You can be accessing it from a browser, local folder, or the applications. And all uploads are private until you decide to share them. This is not a shared interface. OneDrive is for one person. Anything that you're working on that is not ready for the eyes of the company needs to be here. You're not sharing out of your OneDrive. This is something that I use for my expenses. A PowerPoint that I'm working on that's not ready. As soon as I'm ready, it goes into SharePoint. SharePoint is for collaboration. OneDrive is for one person to use for their own means. Again, I said I used it all for my phone backups because you got a terabyte. I moved a lot of my own files in there. Personal information, you can use that for, again, that's up to your company policy of how you want to do that for your data. OneDrive is for one. You're not sharing it. It is not SharePoint for sharing. SharePoint Online. File belongs to the team, the group. Permissions are controlled, centralized. You are using that for collaboration. OneDrive is not a collaboration tool. SharePoint is in regards to best practices. Access it browser, or you can also use File Explorer. You can upload, uploads inherit the permissions from that directory, and you can honestly customize your SharePoint site very detailed. Teams, centralized hub, communication, sharing files, scheduling calls, folders and team files, mobile application, and browser. That's one thing I did not touch on. I might just jump back, show the web browser version of it. Pretty cool. And the Outlook. So sending, replying, forwarding emails, opening and sending attachments, contacts, importing, exporting, setting up reminders, using shared calendars, updating your signature and re-importing them, recalling a message, scheduling a meeting, and converting an email to a meeting. So while I have everybody, and I wanted to just spend a little bit of time demoing Teams within a web browser, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to share desktop 2, which is my Teams here, and bring up my web browser. All right, so this is the screen that everybody will see when they log into office.com, sign in with your email address and password. You'll see all the different applications that you have access to. If we blow this up, we can see a little bit about each one: PowerPoint, Sway, Word, OneNote, SharePoint, all sort of the standards. And then you get all the way granular as far as you want to go. Again, I just go up to the waffle, which I'm not sure if it's a completely accepted Microsoft term, but I've heard it on many Microsoft trainings. So I'm going to go to my Teams. Obviously, you have access to all of the Office applications via web browser. So let's go into Teams. So we're going to see all the stuff I just created. The conversations just happened today with the local application of Teams, the download that you have. So as you can see, it wants an even faster, more collaborative experience. Download the desktop app. It just wants to push you to mobile, to the application, as it's just a little bit more important tool. Let's say I'm on the road, my phone broke, my laptop broke, I got an important meeting, go to office.com on the hotel computer, and I can go to office.com, log in, get into my Teams, and talk to my team just as if I was there, which is really incredible. So we can see the files that we had. Oh, looks like we got a new plan in webinar. See if Bill finished his job. So you can see pretty much everything that was already built in there. Demo. You can see that, and you can see that it's recently added. Jumps right into the doc. Again, you're updating it here. Hello. Let's hit edit here. You're able to change docs live, which is really cool because we opened up Excel Online inside Teams inside a web browser. So I updated that. That's going to save automatically. Now, if I just want to, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw this update here momentarily. But again, two applications open at the same time. I don't know if I made enough changes to it for it to save. You have the functionality of adding tabs and different applications there. So it's very close to the same as when you're using the application in a web browser, and it's a very cool tool. All right, let me jump back to our summaries and our recaps, and we'll wrap this thing up here. All right, so the final thoughts, we've gone over a lot of information over the last 4 weeks. Outlook in Office 365, formerly Office Outlook 2016, a lot of features there, a lot of basic information, a lot of new processes and options that you have that you probably weren't aware of. We touched base on OneDrive, how to use that, what's the best ways of leveraging that personal repository for file revisions, having an additional cloud storage, locally syncing uploads to the cloud so you can do everything cloud-based. You select what folders you like to sync locally. We have SharePoint Online, incredible collaborative tool for files, documents. You can add workflows to it. You can make an accounting page, HR sharing documents, really a great place to have your team working on the same docs in a simplified manner. We reviewed Teams, an incredible new tool from Microsoft within the Office 365 platform that allows you to talk, communicate, share files, and just have a really one-on-one or one-on-50 conversations, both live, video, chat, sharing documents, sharing spreadsheets, an incredible collaborative tool. That's going to wrap up our webinar series. I know I finished up a little earlier. I just wanted to touch base on some of the earlier concepts of what we discussed. Teams is an incredible tool. Again, the more you dive in, the more that you'll see it. But I want to thank everybody for joining. If you have any questions, please email webinar@smbhd.com. We'll reach out, follow up with you, answer any of your questions to see how you can leverage this tool a little bit better. And I hope you guys enjoyed this webinar series. I enjoyed it myself, learned a couple new things on my side putting this together. And again, looking forward to working with you guys on more fun and exciting projects and feature sets within Office 365. Thank you so much.